good portion of today's talks at the Goodmanson Sandhills Lab Open House centered around drought conditions affecting Nebraska. We looked at those issues with UNL Extension range and forage specialist Jerry Volesky. We started by asking about conditions here at Goodmanson.
Well, things continue to be very dry, of course, and as far as the range and pastures, we're really turning completely brown in terms of the conditions have been so dry, have really gone into a summer dormancy.
If it would so happen that rain would come across this area and the pastures would green up a bit, is that a situation you advise people not to put their cattle out again?
That's right, and there is a chance over the next month as we get into even mid or late September with some rain, we would possibly stimulate some growth in particularly cool season grasses, maybe the warm seasons, but it's generally a recommended practice that because of the stress those grasses have been in because of the drought, and in a lot of cases grazing pressure this year has been a bit heavier, that they do not try to go out there and graze that new growth that comes in. What we really are suggesting is to allow those plants some time to recover, and really when we talk about recovery after a drought, it's got to have some substantial significant rains first before those grasses can start to rejuvenate themselves.
Let's look forward to next spring. With the plans that are out there now, I don't know if it's going to rain an inch or 10 inches in the off season, so what are you advising producers to do to get ready for next spring?
Well, first of all, as spring's quite a ways away, and it may be a little too early to do some really serious or significant planning, but there are a number of things that could be done at this time, and one of them is to really take a close look at the grazing that they did this past year in terms of their different pastures, in particular when they were grazed, how heavily they had to graze them, kind of make an inventory or record some of that information. And then as we get into more the winter months and into early spring, watching what the precipitation has done over the past winter or dormant season. But and maybe also even consider some of the spring outlooks as far as the precipitation forecasts, and then when they got all that information together, really put together the full grazing plans of how they might execute the different pasture rotations. If they do have a cropland available, they might also start considering what type of spring forage crops they could plant, providing there would be some precipitation to get those to grow.
This drought is forcing a lot of people to use forage they might not be used to. What do you recommend when you're using so many different kinds of forages and some that you haven't used before?
Well, that's right. A lot of different forages, whether it be baled, salvage, dryland corn silage, different types of hays, hay that's come from different locations that you may have not be familiar with or have purchased. And so with that uncertainty, it's probably going to be very important that producers do some testing. In the case of some of those annual feeds like the dryland corn, for example, nitrates are always a concern, whether it be baled or even after the dryland corn's been ensiled, there still is the potential risk for some nitrates. On a lot of the grass hays, if we have some inkling that the quality is going to be quite low, getting it tested so the producer can better formulate or balance some rations when they do feed that to their livestock this winter and next spring.